Bubba, I just wanted to start with OneDrive. We've been having some conversations over here, and I just want to make sure we've been asking the ETCs every month if there's any support we can provide. So the only reason I had the high schools on here today was try to see if there's anything you guys need out of us. I know John Schwartz would be willing to come over. Anna and I would be willing to do anything. So, or any problems you're running into with OneDrive.
You know what? Here at Papio South on our last staff day, Monday, whatever Monday that was, 2 weeks ago, we had a 30-minute training, and we had probably, I didn't count, but maybe 40 staff members, 25, 30, 40 staff members show up, and we walked through how to do it with them.
Okay.
And then I've sent emails out. So overall, I think we're pretty good. The only thing that we need, which you probably can't give us, is time.
Yeah.
I think it's just teachers trying to not find the time, but just make sure they do it the right way and the files they're using. But I think, let's just say 100 staff members. I want to say we're probably 60 or 70 strong that probably have moved to OneDrive.
Okay.
But not necessarily using it full time, but they have their stuff off. They have everything they need off the server. But I kept telling them, Bill, not to delete anything on the server, just keep it. But if you do move it to OneDrive, just use OneDrive, and then when May comes, we'll just shut them off, and then it's gone. But just for the time being.
No, I think that's perfect, Bubba. One of the other things I wanted to mention, as long as we have everybody on the phone here, is Anna and I have been playing with the new generation sync client, and it's actually working out very well for us. If there are people who want to try that next generation sync client, I think Anna and I would be more than happy to get that on anybody in this group on their machines.
Perfect. Yeah, that would be one thing, Bill. I think we talked, was that last week, about this? And if other people hopefully can hear what I'm saying and then chime in when they get this, we've had some teachers who, when they open up their documents folder, OneDrive pops up on the left side.
Mm-hmm.
And they have been, and that's basically the sync button. They have been putting stuff in there and saving to it, but then, like we said at the beginning of the year, the red X comes up.
Right.
And so yeah, that's probably one thing. I know we have 3 staff members that are in that category of they have some red X's, and so I'll work with them. But other than that, that syncing is one big thing I know that some staff want to hopefully get figured out. So.
Yeah, because if we want to start with those 3 people, let's say, or 4, or whatever it is, to try the next generation sync client, it honestly is just files. You double click, they run, and there's a couple setup things you have to do at that point.
Okay.
That it's perfect after that. So, Anna, is there anything you want to add? Yeah.
Well, one thing, I know, Bubba, you said when they open up their documents and they see OneDrive over on the left.
Yeah.
If it says OneDrive, that's that personal OneDrive. So we found a number of people in the high schools who have synced to the personal OneDrive, and so none of their documents are on the login.microsoftonline.com website. So that's something else we need to make sure we check for.
Okay. And then I think, Anna, help me out, did sometimes when people log into their computers, a box comes up and says, do you want to sync?
Oh, yeah. Oh, really?
No, it shouldn't unless they go searching for OneDrive for Business, and if they launch OneDrive for Business, then it will ask them to sync. The other way is if they've done it through the website. So when you're in your files, there's a button there where you can click sync.
Okay, perfect. No, other than that, I think we're doing pretty well. I'm going to find out here in the next week how the staff is doing with all this. I'm going to send a little email out to the department heads, a little survey. But I think we're going okay over here at Papio South. I really do.
Okay. We just had 2 more.
Yeah, I was just going to add a little bit more to what Sorry, I was just going to add a little bit more to what Bill was saying on the sync. A lot of the frustrations that we've seen from people with OneDrive is when they go to send something to the print shop, they have to save it to their desktop first because it's not an option in the browse files. And then not being able to save email attachments directly there, and also not being able to move folders. What Bill was talking about with the next generation sync, if anyone's interested in getting that going, once you do that, then it syncs seamlessly, and you can do all of those things really easily.
Thanks, Anna. That's awesome.
All right, I had a couple more people join here, so we're going to have a large group in here. The next item on my list then, after that, and Bo, you're definitely welcome to kind of hang out here. But if you've got other things to do, then we understand, because we've got a few things we have to go over with junior highs.
Okay.
So here's the great news for junior highs. Surface tablets are going to be in your building tomorrow sometime. By the end of the day, Tim will deliver all of them for your staff. So you have to kind of come up with a plan moving forward of what does that look like to get those sent out to people. So I guess, first of all, any questions about that? Tim, I cannot hear you, so I'm going to look to see if you're muted here. Okay. Yeah, Tim, it won't let me unmute you, which makes me think you're muted on your end. And if you want to put something in a chat, if you can't get unmuted, Tim, we can go from there. There's a couple things I wanted to talk about with those. The first that has been coming up a lot is dongles. So, and the question with dongles is how are we going to project to the projectors in our classrooms with these Surface tablets? What I ask the elementaries to do, depending on what type of projector you have, kind of determines what kind of dongle we get. The older projectors don't have HDMI, and so we have a little bit more work, and the newer projectors do have HDMI, so we can do wireless projecting very easy. I'm willing to buy those dongles, but I need to know how many of each I need. So what I've asked buildings to do is just walk into their classrooms and look at the model projector and send it to me. So most buildings send me an Excel spreadsheet that says classroom 101 has an Epson 83C. And I know that an 83C doesn't have HDMI, so I know it helps me with my count. So I guess my first question is, how soon could that stuff, could you get that stuff to me, do you think?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. I just moved my computer. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I was on the tablet and it didn't work. So
did you want to go back to the first thing, Tim?
You just said go around and look at projector models, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and the sooner you can get that to me, the sooner I can put the order in for what we need. So I'm not trying to put pressure on you guys. I know everybody here is busy, but the sooner you can give me that list of classrooms and what type of projector, it's going to be easier for me to get that order put in.
Okay. I know Lana wanted to go around and put an order form together, I know, for the dongles and those things, and so that'll help because she's kind of in charge of that. So.
Perfect. Yeah, she's been sending me emails.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to buy one for every classroom. Yep.
And are we buying WiDi as well, or just the regular connector dongle from VGA?
Well, we got a couple options. No. We're going to do anywhere we can do wireless projecting, we're going to do wireless projecting with one of these.
Okay.
So everybody should be able to do wireless projecting. I say that I've got a phone call with a company next Monday that it's Action Tech, and they make a adapter that's twice as much, but it works VGA and HDMI.
Okay.
So the nice thing about that is then we would only have to buy one. But we're going to do something where you're going to be able to wirelessly project.
Okay.
Yep.
We can do that for you tomorrow. I'm trying to think. I have an activity in class where I can jump out of the classroom pretty easily.
Okay.
Because they're going to be self-directed for the most part, so I can go around to the Probably most of the rooms tomorrow.
And just get those.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I'd anticipate by the end of tomorrow having that done.
That would be perfect.
And you just want a spreadsheet, room number.
Yeah, spreadsheet. Yeah, that's perfect.
Got it. Yeah, we can do that.
And Tim,
Melissa might have it too, so we'll see what we have.
okay. And Tim, you said you would pass that on to Lana, and you guys would get yours as soon as possible too.
Did you say they were going to do wireless? I didn't catch the first part. I'm sorry.
We are. The goal is that once we get these dongles in, everybody will be able to go wireless.
Okay, awesome.
No matter what you've got with your projector, we're gonna try to make wireless projecting work for everybody.
Okay.
Here's the one downside of wireless projecting right now, and I just want to get in front of this and be open with you guys. There are two types of wireless. There's 5 gigahertz and 2.4 gigahertz. 5 gigahertz is the new standard of wireless, and all the computers we bought for the secondary a few years ago are all 5 gigahertz. These wireless projectors all connect at 2.4. The problem we've got with that is we have a lot of interference on the 2.4 channel through like guest clients and teachers who bought their machines a few years ago. Those are all 2.4. So we're going to try to make it work the best we can this spring, but next summer we're going to turn off the 2.4 radios in our access points. So if you have an old client that you're trying to connect to our wireless, it doesn't matter if you're a student or a staff member, next year you won't be able to connect. But we have to do that to free up that spectrum. And so that might be a complaint that you guys get next. Well, the complaint the rest of this spring might be that wireless projecting falls off. We think we're going to fix that. We believe we would fix that if it comes up by turning off 2.4 gigahertz. And then you'll have that complaint from teachers next year about, well, my phone, which is 7 years old, won't connect to wireless or whatever. And you're just going to have to, I guess we're just kind of asking for support as we move that way, that we try to get teachers to understand that your radio and your card is super old and we can't support that stuff forever.
Hey, will that wireless, will it go by machine, or will there be a name of machine, or will that be any interference between rooms or anything like that?
So the way that these connect, they don't send out, there's a possibility for that. They really try to get the signal strength down to about 30 or 40 feet at the most, so that it shouldn't bleed over into other rooms.
Okay.
But we have only run the Miracast standard in about 10 locations in the district. This is going to be the first time that we have tried to push this out to a whole building. Now, OPS, when they bought their surfaces, is putting Miracast in every room. So if they can get this to work, I know we're going to be able to get it to work as well. It just might take some tweaking to get everything set correctly.
When do you anticipate the wireless or the adapters or all that? When are we going to be able to roll that out completely?
I'm hoping that I put an order in Monday or Tuesday next week for those adapters, and that within a week or two we got those and we're dropping them off to buildings.
Okay. So when we communicate to staff, we're going to say, because we're kind of getting them a little early, the surfaces,
right,
to what we had thought about. So is it going to be use it, get used to it, and with the anticipation about 2 weeks,
you're going to be able to do
you can
more.
start using it with your kids and stuff like that. Okay.
Yeah, this is going to be that's a good point, because I think this is going to be a slow implementation, but that's part of the reason that we're letting people keep their old machines, because, well, I can't project yet, so I got to use the old, but it's going to give people a chance to do it over a month period instead of just, here's your new machine, we're taking away your old machine.
Yeah. Well, and that's something that we really liked. And Tim, I don't know about you guys, but the conversation's been pretty positive about, what we can do with it. The main hurdle being projection. So this, at least for us, eases a lot of that. And
Good.
hopefully we'll quicken the transition to.
The main concerns are that, and then just the USB splitter. So we're pricing those out, because that's kind of our next.
Yeah, so
concern.
Tim, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's the last two things on my list of stuff are the USB and the CD DVD drives. And I'm going to start with the easy one, the CD DVD drives. I don't think I'm buying any of those. And my reasoning behind that is right now, I think they're better ways we can do that. A lot of that stuff has been put online. We can rip those CDs into a file. We can do, we've got a lot of people who have asked me the question about CDs they've had since 2003, and there might be a better way to handle those. So if you've got a teacher that just cannot do it any other way, you may want to look at spending the $40 and have a few of those in your building. I think there are better ways to do that, and I think we can get over that hurdle if we just have those conversations with people. And then the USB splitters, very similar to that. One of the questions that's come up, I know that we have the document cameras in a lot of our classrooms. Well, the thought is, if you got a document I've got a document camera plus I have this, and they both need USB. Well, part of me thinks that the document cameras might be going away because you now have a Surface tablet. You can take a picture of what you're trying to do and wirelessly project and walk around your classroom and notate right on it. So part of me is hoping that this gives us an opportunity to relook at how we do things and say, maybe we don't need this anymore, and get rid of some of the older technology we have out there.
What if people want to use a mouse or connect some other way? Do they go wireless?
So yeah, you can buy a wireless mouse keyboard if you don't like the keyboard that comes with it. You could buy a wireless mouse keyboard for that, or a wired mouse for that as well.
It just plugs to your one USB port though, right?
Yes, it would. So then you would want a splitter for that.
Is that something you would provide or will provide, or is that back on us? I don't know how much they are.
Let's do this. I'll send to this group. I'll send the splitters we're looking at. We've looked at 5 or 6 different types of models that range anywhere from $6 a splitter to $40 a splitter, kind of depending on what you want. So I can send that out to the entire group, and then maybe we can have that conversation. I just don't want to get into the habit of we're buying splitters for every teacher because we think every teacher needs them, without actually having some conversations with how they're using them.
Would it be appropriate for that to come out of their department budget to purchase those type of things?
I would, yeah. I think that might be a great thing to say. It put a little bit of the burden back on them.
Sure.
To make that decision.
As far as the wireless mouse goes, I know Apple has the Mighty Mouse that just connects automatically with the computer. Does this have a mouse that is compatible with it's just Bluetooth?
What's interesting is Bluetooth is built into the Surfaces. And I don't know if Steph's there. I don't know if she's ever tried that. I have not tried to connect just a generic Bluetooth mouse through the Bluetooth. I wouldn't see why it wouldn't work, but we haven't tried it yet. Yeah, Steph hasn't tried it. So maybe that's one of the first things we try, because if the mouse is the biggest obstacle, maybe we can overcome that real easy.
Yeah, because we bought little thumb drives, the low profile for everybody, so they could move files over there and access them fairly easily without OneDrive, just because that's been a hurdle.
Right.
And getting people over to the tablet seemed to be a priority, but that takes up the one USB drive. So if we can get like a native Bluetooth connection without having
you're taken care of,
we can take care of that pretty easily.
We'll test that before.
And Microsoft has a couple of their own. They have one called the Microsoft Arch Touch, and then they also have the Wedge Touch, and they're actual Microsoft mice, but they run about $70. So
70 or 17?
70, $69.99.
That's
I haven't tried a regular Bluetooth mouse, but they're both native Microsoft.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do some research in that. Thanks, Hannah.
Yep.
So those were the main things I wanted to go over, let you guys know that they were coming in. Next steps with these, and I've been getting a lot of questions about those other items. Are there other things you guys wanted to talk about? I guess first in relation to the Surfaces, and I'm assuming you guys have worked out rollout plans for your building, but if there's anything you need from us, I think Anna and I and Tim and probably anybody over here is willing to help with that. So,
what is it? I know you mentioned about it when you brought these over here. Was there going to be a tutorial video or a quick how-to or anything like that? And I know you kind of talked about that with some screenshots.
And there is. Yep, there will be a tutorial video that you'll have before Monday that it'll be sectioned. So if you don't want to sit down and watch the whole thing, you don't have to. It'll be almost chaptered out for things like how to connect your pen, how to log into Word, and things like that.
Okay, so I know we're giving them a handout, and we can just put the link to the link on that handout as well, so that'll help.
Okay.
Thank you.
What is exactly on those? Same thing that was on ours as far as what's been loaded on them or profile?
Yeah, the exact same image. Yeah. So the software that's loaded on the ones you guys got is the exact same image we use for every other one. They do need to go through. We didn't profile each one, so they're going to have to, the first time they log in, they have to do it in district so that it creates the profile. And then, yeah, I haven't seen Anna's video, but I'm sure it's awesome. So maybe go through that and pick out things that you feel like your teachers have to be able to do.
Yeah, we were planning on using Tony Riesdorf to get Smartboard on there. What else? There was like 2 or 3 other things. But basically, he was going to load these programs that basically all teachers have on their computers now. And he was going to get that all set up and then call them into his room to give it to them then, okay, as opposed to giving it to everybody and having them bring it.
Right.
That he was going to get that set up first and then hand it out to teachers.
Okay.
Is that
okay? That would be fine.
A solution.
Yep.
Now, I don't know about tomorrow. We were planning on the 8th or whatever, I think.
Well, and you don't have to, just because we're dropping them off doesn't mean you guys have to change. The one thing I will say is I would, when Tim gets out there, I would have a spot in your building that we can lock the door, and so he can drop these off and you guys can lock the door and none walk off in the next week.
Tim, when are you thinking about bringing them by tomorrow? Do you know?
I think Tim's on his Mac, so he can't.
I don't know if he has a schedule, but he's delivering them to every single elementary and both junior highs. So
he does have a schedule. Which building are we talking about?
La Vista Junior High.
La Vista Junior High is last on the list, so it'll be probably later in the afternoon.
Okay, so then we won't run into the issue of trying to keep it from people. It'll be
it'll be Friday afternoon. They'll be out the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you guys going to try and get yours out next week then?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to handle this. We have a TAP meeting tomorrow morning to kind of finalize a lot of this stuff, but I mean, just the way this sounds, I'd hate to get, half our staff, their Surface, the other half doesn't get it. It'd be great to do it a little more uniform, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree. I think let's try and come up with I was going to say a spreadsheet or something on OneDrive that commonly asked questions or something like that, where they can fill out as they're using it or something like that, so that we can kind of combine those for the February in-service and answer questions at once.
Are you talking about doing that between both of our schools?
Doesn't matter. I mean, they're gonna be running into the same problem, so I wonder if we could do that and just.
Tim, I think that's a great idea. If you do that and set that up, just send it our way, and we can share with everybody else. That'd be fantastic.
I know that the 2 big concerns from ours, just talking to people, are the printing issue of sending over to the print shop. So a little, print shop 101, just reminder with OneDrive, and then just that syncing. If we're able to put that removable hard drive or whatever into the tablet, and they do move some files over, if they can sync at that point. I guess those are kind of the 2 things that we talked about.
Anna made a great point just a little bit ago. If as we move to the next generation sync, then sending to the print shop is no longer a hassle. That whole problem goes away. So now we've only tested this on maybe 5 or 6 clients, so it's not something I want to have Steph push out district-wide yet. But if you do want to try it, I think let Anna or myself know, and we'll make sure you guys get the files you need to run to do the next generation sync.
So right now they can or can't print or send stuff to the print shop on these?
They can. It works the same way, but they're going to have to download it to their local machine. Once sync is on, that goes away. They can just go pick it from OneDrive and send it.
And that doesn't save a file on the desktop anymore?
It saves on the local computer. So here's the problem with sync. We kind of lucked out here. The Surfaces we got have 128 gig hard drives, but it's still smaller than what teachers have gotten used to. Now, Anna and I were just poking around with some folders, and most people who think that they've got a ton of stuff out there, if it's Word and PowerPoint and Excel, you're usually talking like 1.2 gig. It's not that much. The place where you run into problems is when people have connected their iTunes and they're saving seasons 1 through 3 of Sons of Anarchy. That's going to cause you some problems. So the problem is we don't know. You guys probably know your teachers better than we do on who is just got a lot of files, but it's not going to take up much space, and who is, yeah, you got to save some of that somewhere else.
So when they're syncing, and that won't be if it's just Excel, all the Office suite, it's fine.
Yeah, I haven't seen anybody who has so many Office documents that they're going to fill up. Anna, what did you and I say that we want to keep everybody over 30 gig?
Yeah, so when the Surfaces leave DTC, they have, I think, 83 gigs left on them. And I think that we should try and aim for leaving at least 30 gigs left for other applications and things down the road, which still gives like 40 plus gigs. So even if somebody has a ton of files, they can still sync. But the nice thing about the next generation sync client is when you go to sync the first time, it lists all of your folders, and you can uncheck any folders that might be huge. Like I have an ISTI folder that has 20 gigs worth of videos, and I want it in my OneDrive, but I didn't want to sync it, so I just unchecked that before I synced. So, and it's pretty clear about how much you have in your OneDrive, and then how much storage space you still have left on your computer, and then it tells you each individual folder how large those are too.
Anna, is that sync the same sync you tried on my Surface?
It is, yep.
Because you did the backwards way to get around that because it didn't work, remember?
Right, it didn't work the first time because we tried just doing the traditional sync through OneDrive for Business. And then when that didn't work, we did the next gen sync so that you could sign into your business account through the personal OneDrive.
So is that what we're going to tell staff to do? Or
Nope, so everyone else, yeah, so everyone else will do just the really simple. They just double click on both of those files to install them, and then from there they just sign into OneDrive and they're able to sync and choose the files and choose which folders from there they want to sync. So for them it's a straightforward process. I did it with a teacher earlier and it took about 90 seconds. So,
is that something we're going to want to do right away, you think, or is that something to wait till like our in-service day to do?
My personal thought on that, I'm going to jump in before Anna goes, and then I'll let Anna see what she thinks. We've got 5 to 10 people that we've done this with. I would sure like to get to 50 people who have run it for a few weeks before we roll it out district-wide, which is why I'm looking. You guys know who's in your building. You guys know who you could put this on, who will freak out and who would be like, oh, something didn't work. I'm not, I'm fine with that. So I'm kind of putting that ball in your court to help us figure out the best way to roll this.
But I also think giving them that jump drive, it gives them the summer to clean out trash there too.
Yep.
I mean, and then they can move stuff over if they want to and get under that 30 gig if they do have those videos and those things like that.
Yeah, I think it's a time to really get lean. I mean, that's the message we've kind of sent to teachers is it's a great time to clean up, but then really, stuff on OneDrive needs to be, stuff you're sharing. Not all of that would need to get synced. What you really want to sync is stuff that you would be sending to the print shop, stuff that you need access to in multiple formats, not just OneDrive.
Exactly.
So that's kind of the rough shift, and something we have to talk about even more because I think teachers are getting to that deadline at the end of the year where they have to start deviating or changing what they're doing.
Yeah. You can get rid of your 2008 golf swings, Bales, and then.
Yeah. No comment.
Has anybody else noticed the batteries don't last real long on these? I know Joe talked about it, and I've noticed it on mine. You can't use it all day before it comes down and goes dead.
I've been getting 8 to 9 hours out of mine. Now, I do set my screen resolution or my screen brightness at 50%. One of the things that did get brought up to me is sleep still seems to be draining the battery more than we'd like.
Then that would
one of the recommendations I've been making to people is to try Hibernate. Hibernate it takes a little bit longer to come out of Hibernate, but the nice thing is it doesn't waste any battery. I mean, I had mine sit all weekend a couple weeks ago in Hibernate, and it still had charge when I came back. So
that's probably come up in our questions, Tim, on that OneDrive sheet is how do you get the battery life to last? Because most teachers just leave their computer on and naturally goes to sleep. But these you have to be really purposeful. I think shutting down would probably be. I was thinking that when we came in your wife.
Have you tried battery saver or not?
There is a battery saver in the bottom that you can turn on. The other thing that the other thing I want to mention is I've been doing this today just out of curiosity. I've been shutting mine down as I've gone from meeting to meeting, because one of the things we always hear from teachers is how long it takes to boot up a computer and get logged in. I went to a meeting out at ESU. Before I went out this morning, I shut it down. When I got to ESU, it took 90 seconds for the thing to come back up and me to be logged in. I shut it down, came back here, and it took almost 2 minutes here to get logged in. But the boot up time, I think, is significantly better. I mean, I think the Dells you have right now are better than the HPs you had before that, and I think these Surfaces are better than the Dells you currently have. We've gotten used to that iPad generation where you hit the button and boom, I'm going. But if worse comes to worse and you're shutting it down at night, 90 seconds doesn't seem like a lot of lost time in the morning.
I know we had at least 2 people, I think, with stylus issues or something like that, or dead batteries. So I think we need to have some of those on hand, at least batteries on hand, before we do the big rollout. And I know that it was a little bit more than 10%, I think.
And I don't know if you noticed, but they're like quadruple A. They're kind of a weird battery.
Yeah.
But that battery.
A lot of people can't connect their pens or not.
I only had one administrator, and her pen was actually bad. The button worked, so it wasn't a battery issue, but the tip at the end wouldn't work, so I switched that out for her.
Okay.
Anything else you guys want to go through?
No, I think we're good on our end. Like I said, we have a meeting tomorrow to talk about a lot of this rollout. I think the questions are going to come pretty quick after that, but we'll probably wait to hear by ear, really.
Okay. It's like I said a little bit ago, I think this is going to be a slow rollout. I mean, they're going to get the Surfaces, and then they'll get the wireless projectors a few weeks later, and they'll get this. And but we knew it was going to be that way, which is kind of why we said let's leave the old Dells in place right now, and then as you guys get to NISA testing, as teachers feel more comfortable, hopefully you can use those teacher machines to alleviate some NISA concerns. All right, well, I'm not going to keep everybody super late. I knew this would be quick. I just wanted a chance to make sure we were all on the same page. So thank you very much.
Sounds good.
Hey, thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Good seeing you guys.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Anna.
Yep, thank you.